Thank you so much for coming in today, John. How many chambers do you presently have?
I have 3. I have one at the house, one at the clinic, and then one I'll take to spring training and on the road, and I'm pretty much covered that way.
I definitely think you are. How much research did you do before you decided to use a chamber, John?
Well, I did some research from asking a lot of doctors to finding out really the benefits of hyperbaric chamber. I've been introduced to it a little bit over in Canada. You know, I've been introduced, it was a different product then, and you know, it's like anything else, like minor leagues. You hear the horror stories and then you find out the real truth. And I think with the hyperbaric chamber, once you really understand how easy it is and there really is no side effect whatsoever, that the upside's so great that my investigation was worth it, and it's just been great for me.
And how long have you been using the chambers now?
I've been using this, going to be my 2nd year, and what I've noticed just in a short time is just not only from recovery, from the ability to be in pretty good shape, which is what I'm supposed to be as an athlete. There's a lot of other bonuses that come with it. You know, I got it personally for my career, but also for my family, to benefit from my children, to my wife, to whoever's in my house, and they're seeing great effects already just from the limited use. We went through a move, so anytime you go through a move, you got to reorganize your house and put it in a position that they all can access it, and I couldn't be more thrilled with the opportunity to have it in my house.
I understand your housekeeper, Dee, used it when she had a problem.
Yes, and that problem disappeared in 2 days, which is not supposed to happen in 2 days. And she obviously was sold on it right away, as well as we have. Once we've seen the product, I think that they trust my judgment, and they know that what I've been through, both in my career physically and on the ailments, and of course with all my different illnesses of allergies and colds, which you really don't want to have during the season, they've seen that drastically be reduced. So they enjoy that part of it.
Great. You'd only gotten sick, I think, once last year?
Yeah, one real time. You know, I fight during the season with all the travels, the different areas when their allergies are high or their pollens, and different times where you're going to be with a team in an airplane and in a confined area. You're going to get your chances are going to be increased to get sick. And I avoided all that last year, and I don't like to think that I just chuck it up to chance. I think that the chamber had a lot to do with that. I learned a very good word of the mitochondria, which is the ability for your body to reproduce and protect yourself against, you know, increasing your immune system. And I like to think that not only my sleeping, but the recovery. I mean, for what I did last year and the last 3 years, it was different. The whole regime was different for me. My routine was different. My sleeping patterns were different. And this helped it. You know, you take a nap in here and you feel like you've slept for 8 hours. And the ability to recover, whether it's bruises, whether it's swelling, whether it's inflammation, you know, the proof is in the pudding. And I think anytime you touch or embark on something that borders history or borders the time that it takes to normally do something, people are going to be concerned and say it can't happen. That's not true. And it really is. And I've seen the benefits, as well as those who have done it as well.
How has the chamber helped you as far as working out harder, longer?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed, again, and I enjoy sleeping in it personally. I get one of the best nights of sleep and feel pretty good the next day than just typically, you know, sleeping in your own bed. And the one thing that I found is, from a recovery standpoint, I mean, you got to put in the work to get in good shape, and I haven't had to, fortunately this year, do any rehab, so that's helped. But I found that my soreness and the ability to just keep going back after it 3 times a week has been a lot easier for me. And I like that refreshness feeling. When you go and put your body through a workout and you're preparing for the season, the ability to sustain that is key in an off season where there's many different distractions, and the ability for my time to be consumed during the week is enormous. So sleep will not be, I won't get 8 to 10 hours of sleep during the week. This has really helped me sleep in it. I know people say, you really sleep in it? I do. I sleep in it, and I get 6 solid hours, and I really like that benefit amongst the others that we've already talked about. But I think for me, if your body is at a point where it's rested and can compete and train, you're going to be at an advantage.
How has the chamber helped you recover from your last surgery so that this year, I understand you're having no pain whatsoever in your elbow?
Yeah, it's been great. The recovery from scar tissue, the ability to heal quicker, all of it. You know, time is a big key too. And I think people say, well, you're just trying to speed up time or the future. No, but you're just increasing those chances to have less problems, and that's what I've occurred this off season. It's been great. I mean, the cold weather's come and gone. I haven't had the ache that you have typically after a season, and had another exhausting season which competed a lot, and at the end of the season you get pretty tired, and these components that we're talking about have just given me that extra advantage. You don't want to always run that car on empty, and you don't always take your body and push it to the point where it's just exhaustion takes point. And I was able to go through a season where I didn't feel like exhaustion was right around the corner. Physically you go through some tough times during the year when you pitch a lot, but the mental part of it was what I really saw the advantage of, the ability to stay focused, the ability to stay fresh in your mind, which is going to translate into your body.
The chamber that's at this Braves clubhouse, and they take it on the road. Did you notice it helped you with it when you went to the West Coast, where there was a 3-hour time difference, that you didn't really have a lag, or when you went to Denver with the altitude?
Yeah, some people right away could consider the placebo effect, where you just think it's working, and then there's a difference between when you see it working. And obviously we travel a lot, and it wasn't actual science where I could do it every single time we landed the plane and got in it late. But when I found that there was important times where 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, West Coast trips, you get in there, and it did decrease the ability of feeling sluggish, the ability of, I'm a high energy guy. So the down part of that is when I get run down, I'm a very low energy guy. There's no in between. I'm really high strung or really low. And this allowed that to not be as part of a long season where you run into those lulls and you just feel like you just can't go or compete at that time. And I found that with our great travel, where we have to fly the West Coast more than you like, it had definitely reduced that lag that everybody feels. And it's more of a 2-day period than it is the next day. I look at it as the second day is actually worse for us than it is that next day, because you're off the plane and adrenaline's kicking in, and then it's when that runs out that I think is you're at your worst.
Do you have anything that you might want to say to the doctors or trainers that seem to be lagging just a little bit, because this is new, it's state of the art, like you had mentioned before?
And that's the hard part when any industry, whether it's sports, is right away it's the newness of it doesn't have enough data, doesn't have enough history, and you're facing history. And the one thing that will be seen over time is the increased rate of healing, the ability to reduce swelling, the ability to recover, and I think over time you can't help but notice that certain guys who have been able to do this, there's something different. And health is one thing that we take for granted in sports. We're able to do whatever we can to be successful and deal with the risks later, and that's not part of my game. That's not part of who I am and what I'm born to do. So this is a very important part of accumulative health. I think the more you do it, the better it is. And like you said, an hour a day just adds up to that ability of the immune system, and it's just going to prolong your life. It's in the competitive world, one would think, why don't you just do this yourself? Why don't you keep it selfish? You benefit from it. But obviously, so many more people could benefit. I like to compete where everybody's at their best. I'd like to see everybody benefit from a product. So that's why you pass it on. That's why you talk to your teammates and your competitors and anybody else who have these problems. I'm all about seeing people have less to deal with, less suffering. Anything that's going to improve the quality of life, I'm all for. This is not a quick fix, 1 week and you're done. You don't have to use it. This is a benefit throughout your life. So yeah, I've passed it on, and it's to those who are willing to do the same thing I did, seek it out, get the information. They'll realize it's something that they can benefit from, both from going to or purchasing, one or the other.
Chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, depression, sleeping disorders, circulation, arthritis, helps the immune system. If someone's going to have recent or they're going to have future surgery, helps with the healing of that. And then in life-threatening things, it helps with stroke, cerebral palsy, ADHD, which we know your son Drew has, which we can chat about in a second, autism, MS, Lyme disease, chronic infection diseases, brain injury, diabetics, and then obviously the last thing is the athletes. I know your son Drew with ADHD has used the chamber not extensively, but I understand you're going to have him start using it a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, part of his routine. Anything that is going to help with the concentration, with the ability to focus, I think is huge. I mean, I'm not immune from any of this stuff. And, if I came in here and showed you it grew hair, then I think people might be a little skeptic. But this is something that improves quality of life, and I don't think it's a nuance, something that's going to go away. I don't think it's anything that is hokey pokey. And when you start realizing, I treasure my kids more than anything in the world. So for my son to hop in here and for me to be able to feel good about what he can do for him, baseball's second compared to the quality of his life and watching him grow up. So I'm all for it.